All right, welcome back to episode 2 of the Bloch Party podcast. My name is Jared Knobloch. I'm here with my boy Rigo Lopez. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. After seeing those football games, I have a lot to talk about.
That's true. Yeah. So today, it's a lot of football because we got the NFL playoffs going. We had 6 wild card games this last weekend, and a lot of stuff happened. So why don't we just dive right into it? I'd say. So the first game we're gonna start with, and even though it's not um a wild card game. It was the final game of the regular season between the Chargers and the Raiders. And the reason this is important, I'd say, is probably for two reasons. One, I mean, us being from San Diego, we're the San Diego's football team. I'd say it's the Chargers. Even though they moved to LA, a lot of fans here in San Diego are still rooting for the Chargers, even though they kind of betrayed us. And then obviously, that game against the Raiders was for the playoffs, and they blew it. They messed it up. Want to tell me what happened, Rigo?
Yeah, well, the Chargers and Raiders game. Honestly, I was rooting for the Chargers, even though I don't
Well,
like
everybody
either team
was.
personally. Yeah, well, I wouldn't say everybody, but
I mean, obviously, I'm not Raiders
uh,
fans, but
yeah, obviously, but I I'm a 49ers fan. I'll just get that out of the way. And I didn't like I didn't like the Chargers because they left, and I don't like the Raiders because I'm a Niners fan.
hmm
And so that was honestly, I think that was the craziest game I've seen
yeah,
personally, because just the clutch factor that the Chargers had at near the end of the game. Like, honestly, we didn't watch the whole game. Like, I was at a friend's house watching it, and we just pulled it up on one of our phones, and we were like, okay, let's go ahead and watch this. And I'm like, oh, what if they come back? What if they come back? And the Chargers ended up coming back, and it went into overtime. And everyone knows what happened that game. It was
yeah.
just like a crazy attempted comeback that the Chargers would have made. And I was really rooting for them. I'm not gonna lie, but one of my friends actually, he usually posts stuff about like the Chargers whenever they win and stuff. He
Oh
always makes
yeah.
fun of people when, and
Instagram
he's one of,
stories.
he's one of those people, and he was silent, bro. Like, he did not say a word. But
I I do. So I was able to catch the second half of the game. And as someone who's, like, not, like, I would say a native football fan, even I was into it, I could tell the game was close, and it was coming down to the wire, and, obviously, like, I was watching it with my friend, and he was explaining it to me, like, both of these teams are in contention for the playoffs, so with this being the last game of the season is extremely important. And so, we were watching the game, and as it gets down to it, it's like, this can go either or this can go multiple ways. And so obviously ended up the Raiders winning and then the Chargers going out of the playoffs, but the Chargers seriously screwed the pooch on this one because all they had to do was tie. And as lame as ties are, like I mean, if you're a head coach and you say, "All right, I'm not going to take a timeout because I don't remember exactly what happened, but pretty much the Raiders were kind of signaling towards the Chargers like, "Hey, we are okay with tying this game so that both of us go to the playoffs." Because it's one of those things where it's like you don't want to take the risk and lose, whereas you want to play like the safe bet and have a better chance of winning. And of course, the Chargers didn't see it at all, and
nah, they
that's
didn't
like
want to stay in San Diego. They didn't want to.
I
They
know
didn't
it's
want to
like,
tie,
dude,
bro.
how are you going to be a professional NFL team and like mess up that badly. I don't understand. And like it was pretty obvious too. Like everybody, like the announcers knew it. I think the fans in the stadium knew it. I
Yeah,
mean,
the fans, they had a. Did you see the sign that said "tie the game"?
no, I
So
didn't.
some fan made a sign that said "tie the game," and I
It's
think he
pretty
was a
funny.
Raiders fan.
I just know that the Raiders head coach even said after the game, he's like, "Yeah, we were thinking about it on the sidelines." Like, he-
It would have been
so
cool,
cues. I
like,
know. They've gone
okay.
in the playoffs because I think it would have been the seeding would have been the same. I'm not 100% sure, but
I
I
think a
mean,
team would have had a bye, right?
well, no, 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 no. I
Oh
think it
no, because they
was
both would have
the
made it.
Raiders would have
Wait, no.
played the Bengals anyways, and then I think instead of the Patriots playing the Bills, I think it would have been the Chargers. Don't
Mhm.
fact check me on that. That's just my suspicion. Anyways,
Yeah.
so that sucks for the Chargers. There's always next year.
Well,
Uh,
with that game, let me add on to that.
all right, let's hear it.
I think that the Chargers, like, obviously that game literally, like, at the end of the game, it was just like, oh, fourth down, I'm gonna make a play. The Chargers really only made a play on
Idiots.
fourth
They're
down, so
just
it was
dumb for
just
that.
like, yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy to me, and they did play really good. Both teams played really good for a game to go that stretched out. The
Yeah.
Raiders did choke at points. Like, okay, the Chargers made good plays, but
No,
at
no,
the
no, no.
same
The
time,
Raiders
the
didn't
Raiders.
choke at all. It was the Chargers, 100%. They did not
Well,
choke.
no,
You
well,
can't
the
say they
Raiders,
choked if they didn't lose
no,
the game. You know
no,
what I
no, no,
mean?
you're right. No, 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 no. They choked some plays. That's what I'm saying. They didn't choke
Okay.
the game.
Okay, that's
No, they
that's
choked
fair.
some
That's
plays.
fair.
The fact that they let the Chargers go that far, kind of like,
Oh, okay. So you're saying the Raiders
okay,
should have like wiped the floor with the Chargers?
they shouldn't have wept the floor. They should have not let them get that far into overtime.
Okay.
You know, but that's just what I think. I feel like if here, let's just move on to the next game because that's what I'll go into.
Okay, well, what I was going to say is it ended up not mattering because the first game of the wild card, Raiders taking L to the Bengals, 26-19. My thoughts. I was very impressed with Joe Burrow. You know, I saw him
Oh,
at
he had crazy
LSU.
throws.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, this kid's like, I want to say probably 23 or 24. You know, and I think his second year, and he's leading this Bengals team to a wild card win, and obviously the Raiders, playing that game, getting their butts kicked, probably were pissed that they lost. But I mean,
Hmm.
it is what
They
it
false
is.
started 3 times in the beginning of the game.
Yeah, it was a slow game. I would say 19-26 is pretty low scoring as well. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, obviously, we'll talk about this in a second, but the Patriots and Bills 17-47, like that's a pretty high
With the
scoring game.
with the Raiders and Bengals game, the Raiders could have came back, or like they could have came back. But I mean, here's the thing: the defense for the Bengals was like depleted at that moment, from what I heard,
How
and
come?
so they had I don't know, I just heard.
Injuries?
I think it was injuries
Okay.
actually. So they had a depleted defense. So the Raiders could have taken advantage of that, but obviously we all know how that ended up. I think the Chargers would have beat the Bengals. Me personally, I don't like the Chargers, but I
Okay.
think in that game, I think that would have been a better matchup.
Okay.
But
Well, the
um,
the problem with that game also is the controversial call. You remember you know what I'm talking about?
with the
The touchdown that they were awarded when Joe Burrow threw it to I don't know who it was, probably what's his name,
oh, Tyler
Chase.
Boyd,
Uh
right?
I don't know who caught it, but point is they caught the ball, right, in the end zone, but a whistle was blown in the middle
Oh, yeah, yeah. So
while
if
the
if
ball was in the air. And so
okay, I remember that. Yeah,
I'm not 100% sure on what the official football ruling is, but what I heard is that it's supposed to
the
be
thing
like a
has to stop.
replay.
You
Yeah,
have to
the play
stop.
has to stop, and so that touchdown shouldn't have counted. Now, as someone outside looking in, I personally think that doesn't make sense. Like he threw the ball was already in play. It's not that he blew the whistle and then threw the ball. It's he threw the ball and then the whistle was blown. Like there's nothing
I
he could
think the
have
play
done.
should have finished.
So you think they should have been awarded a touchdown also?
I think they should. I think they should have gotten the touchdown because like that's kind of petty how like they make a play like that. Obviously, that's like that can be game changing,
Yeah.
and it just gets shut down. And all they were doing, they were following the rules, right? Like they stopped.
Yeah.
They were like, okay, I hear a whistle, like we're stopping, but they 100% would have gotten the touchdown if that whistle wasn't blown.
Exactly. Well, the point is they were awarded it anyways, and I saw the people like talking about it on TV afterwards. Like I think they were talking about how the rules should be changed. Um, Now that we have this technology to kind of adapt and like replay and rewatch instead of like 30 years ago where it was like
Hmm.
you kind of had to rule it on the spot.
Like the refs had to like, yeah.
Yeah, so it is what it is, but I think some people are probably going to disagree, but I think the play was fine. I think the touchdown is perfectly legal, but obviously I think the football rules itself, like for the NFL, are the opposite, and that's why it's controversial.
They can be worth changing because
But yeah,
I mean,
like
like you said, they do have the technology to take a look at like insane plays. They have drones. They have
Yeah,
really
exactly.
high like cameras and stuff. So they could have found. But here's the thing. That was easy. That was like easy judgment. That was a good thing that they awarded them the touchdown, because if they didn't, then that would have been like, okay, what the hell? Because that was obvious that
You
they
think
would
that would
have
have been more
scored.
controversial
Huh?
if the touchdown wasn't awarded? That would have been more controversial.
Yeah.
Okay, how come?
Well, because they would have. It's just using like fair judgment. Like, okay, if I were to throw, like, let's say you're wide open and I'm the quarterback, right? I throw the ball to you and you catch it, right? And you're like
Yeah.
a foot away from scoring a touchdown, but the whistle blows. Like, okay,
Okay,
I
that makes
already forgot
sense.
what was the call? Do you remember what the call was for the whistle?
It was like a inadvertent whistle, like it wasn't supposed to be called. But the point
Oh,
is that it was called. So it's like weird.
oh.
That's why it's controversial.
I didn't really pay that much attention to that call. Like, I just thought, okay, they got the touchdown.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
that was
that
well
makes
deserved.
sense.
I didn't really look at like more into it afterwards, because I know you said you saw like videos of them talking about it
Yeah.
afterwards, but I just saw, okay, they got the touchdown. Cool.
Yeah. I do wanna move on to, uh, the absolute butt kicking that is the Patriots and Bills game. Now, it is the Patriots, so you're like, "Oh, okay, maybe they do have a chance." But, nah, that was kinda
That was
depressing.
embarrassing. That sucked.
40 I mean, getting beat by 30 in any sport is, like that's a lot. So,
Especially football, dude.
you were watching this game, correct?
The Patriots game.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, dude. That, like, I honestly, like, I clicked off. Like, they just got wrecked by the Bills.
Yeah,
Like,
I honestly
it was just to the point where it was like, okay, dude, you guys just aren't playing good. Like, the Patriots did have potential that game. Obviously, every team has potential, but like, the Patriots could have done a lot better than what they did. Like, that was crazy. Like, that was just a manhandle. Like, they were manhandled by the Bills, and I get it. The Bills were doing good this season, but
yeah, they're
that
like
was just
the
like
aren't they the number
unacceptable.
1 seed?
I believe the
No.
Bill. No, I think the
No.
Rams are, no.
No, it's the Titans are the number 1 seed.
It's the
No,
Titans, and yeah, yeah,
The Bills are the
and then
number
they're
2
playing the
seed.
Bengals. Yeah, yeah,
Okay, yeah, yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, no,
yeah.
the Bills' defense is good. It's just, like, the problem is the Patriots were garbage. Like, was it do you think it was their offense? Do you think it was their defense or both?
I think, well, it was their defense, 100%.
You think
Like,
it
they
like,
just
well, whose defense? Like,
it
the
was
Patriots' defense wasn't good enough?
the Patriots defense wasn't good enough.
Okay. I was gonna say that because I was like, Mac Jones has been playing pretty good all season, so it probably wasn't his fault.
Yeah, and Belichick is a good head coach. He's not like bad
Is he though, now
from what
that
I've seen.
Tom Brady isn't gone or is
Well,
gone?
that is a good question. I still think he's like a top tier coach, obviously, because
Okay.
he has won Super Bowls even without Tom Brady. But Tom Brady, I'm not gonna lie to you, Tom Brady was a huge part in that, obviously, because
He
he.
didn't win any Super Bowls without Tom Brady. I thought all
No, no,
his
I never said that. No, no, no.
oh, would
I
you
said he's won Super Bowls, like, with the Patriots. I never said he won Super Bowls without Tom Brady.
oh, okay, okay, sorry, I misunderstood. Yeah, no, all 6 of those rings, or 5, are with the Patriots. So, yeah, I would say, like, it's one of those things where is it a good team and a mediocre coach, or does, like, is the coach actually good? Like, I'll use it, 'cause not football, but Steve Kerr right now for Golden State, like, is he a good coach, or did he win his rings because his players were good? Like, that's so
Hmm.
my thought on that is, like, you kinda I would give him another 5 years and see what his, like, successes are, and then see if he's, like, a good
If
coach.
he's like a good coach,
Yeah.
yeah. No, you're right. Because, like, obviously Brady just left recently. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, like, I think it was 2 years ago, right?
Yeah. This is his 2nd
Yeah,
year with
he
Tampa.
left. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He left 2 years ago, and so Belichick deserves a fair chance to see if the Patriots. And I
I
mean, the
agree.
fact that they made it to the playoffs,
It
it
does say
says
something. It
something.
does say something because Mac Jones is
Yeah,
a
it
young
does say
kid.
something.
It's not like he's like
And
a
but they got
10-year
wrecked.
vet.
That's what I'm saying. They
Yeah.
got destroyed.
Now, I
The
that
Bills are
could
a good
be
team.
the Bills are a good team, and I think even though they did get destroyed, the Patriots, like, I think it was just a lack of playoff experience by Mac Jones. You know, I'd say give him a couple years. Let's then reevaluate.
Maybe
You know,
he got nervous. You never know. Like
yeah.
obviously they do get nervous and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But I think the nerves really got to the Patriots at that game. I feel like it did because I think
Yeah,
that was the game where like most of their players haven't been to playoffs before.
yeah, I would agree with that. Also, just the fact that the Bills were better. Just simply
Yeah,
put, the Bills are a better team.
they wrecked them. Yeah.
Now, you know who is a better team or
Mm,
does have playoff experience? The Bucks.
the Bucks.
The Bucks and Eagles game. We're just going down the line. So the score is 31-15. I'd say that sounds like a solid football game. That sounds like a good game score for the NFL. I mean,
Hmm.
you got to talk about Tom Brady, number one. That's like it's crazy, dude. He is in his 40s and he's going out there and he's leading his team to another like, dude, that's just crazy to me. I was having a
I st-
conversation with my friend, and he's like, "Hey, who do you think the best athlete of all time is?" And I was like, "All right, well, I mean, you got to put Michael Jordan in that conversation because like 6 rings, you know." He's like, "Nah, man, it's Tom Brady." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, yeah, he's probably like the greatest football player of all time, but I wouldn't say he's the greatest athlete. And like literally after like seeing this game, I was like, "Wait, wait, wait. This guy's 40." I think he's like 45 or not. I know he's like not 40. He's like
he could be
41.
our dad.
Literally, dude.
Hmm.
It's crazy. He's playing professional football at the highest level. Like mind blown. So I gotta hand it to him. I honestly am still picking the Bucks to go to the Super Bowl this year, but we'll get to that in a second. Did you see it? Did you notice anything?
Well, with him and I still think it's a meme how he got Rob Gronkowski out of retirement to
Retirement?
come and
Yeah.
play for that. That is still mind blowing to me because they're such a good duo.
They are,
Like
yeah.
if you've noticed, you could tell that they're the two players that know each other so well to the
Yeah.
point where they're able to make plays and not really
They
have
have
to
that
worry about the other person. Like, and to the
telekinesis
viewers that
kinetic.
don't know much about me or Jared, we played Call of Duty. We played like wager matches on, or not wager matches. We played like XP matches on Call of Duty,
It's true.
and we there have been some points where we knew each other pretty well.
This is yep.
And so we trusted each other to make certain plays, and so that's kind of how that was in that game. Where I mean, not just that game, but like throughout the whole like legacy for the Bucks, like starting off with Tom Brady, it's just like
Yeah.
Gronk and Brady
This
on
is
your
number
team is
2, yeah.
disgusting. It's disgusting. Like
Gronk
if you
is Gronk is, like Pippen is to Jordan, kinda like how like,
mhm.
for and this has been said on ESPN before, Draymond Green and Steph Curry have, like, this weird telekinesis connection where,
I
like, they
feel like
can
that's
read each other's
Robin and
mind.
Tom Brady,
Yeah,
and
I
that's
would I
crazy
would put
because
them in that category.
Brady is like you said, he's older, you know, and the fact
Yeah.
that he's still playing in I still think he's in his prime.
You think so? 45 in his
I
prime?
I
That's
still think he's
crazy.
45. I think he's 45 in his prime. I'm not gonna lie. I think
I
he's
would
still in that little. I think he's in that era. I don't think he's in his like prime. I think he's like, because when you're in your prime, how I see it is like, okay, this is your prime, and like in the middle, it's like, okay, you're playing at your best. Like nothing can stop you. I feel like he's over here, like where he's like, okay, like he's still in like playing very good, and you gotta remember, like he's 40 years old, and he's playing that good, you
40
know,
plus. I'm pretty sure he's
40
45 years
plus,
old.
100%, yeah. Yeah.
I
And
would
he's playing that well.
yes, he's playing great, but I would disagree with you on him being in his prime because the way I see it, your prime has always kind of been defined as the peak of your career, health and statistically wise, and that typically happens for a professional athlete between the ages of like 27 and 32. It's like a 5-year
Hmm.
span. So obviously, he's defying father time. LeBron's in that category. So their primes are, I would say, extended by 3 or 4 years, but then they're still gonna play well after that because they are just that good of athletes.
Okay, okay, I
You get what I'm
understand that
saying?
then. Yeah,
Yeah. So
okay.
that's what I would say on that. So Buccaneers moving on to the second round. Again, I have them picked for going to the Super Bowl,
Do you
but
think they're going to the Super Bowl?
yeah, and after we recap these, I'll let you know what my picks are. So,
Okay.
your team, 49ers and Cowboys. Go.
Oh man. Well, I really want to talk about like the last part of the game, but I guess I'll start out with the beginning. I think the 49ers did make the first touchdown, which it was funny as I was at church and I was like watching the game while I was at church and I was like,
Nice.
yeah, let's go. And I was talking to people and they're like, yeah, the Cowboys are gonna blow them up. Yeah, like it's gonna be a game, but they're still gonna wreck them, the 49ers. And here's the thing about the 49ers, man. I've been a fan of them for a very long time, and the 49ers are the type of team that you never know. I don't know how to explain this. I was talking about this with a Bucks fan the other day because we were talking about like, oh, what if they play in the Super Bowl? And the 49ers are one of those teams that they have the capability to literally beat any team they want,
But also lose.
but also lose.
Okay.
Exactly. That they're that team. And
That
so
sucks.
yeah, it sucks because they've disappointed me in the past, especially Jimmy. Like
Jimmy
Jimmy
G.
is like me and Jimmy have a love-hate relationship, man. There are some times where he makes me proud and there are some times where I just want like I want to rip his face out, cuz he's like he's not horrible quarterback. Like he's not a Jaguars quarterback, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though like the Jaguars had a horrible season. I don't want to talk about that. But
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence.
Not
Me and my
good.
friends were roasting Trevor Lawrence. That was
Yeah,
funny.
they're
I like,
bottom
I'm
feeders.
Trevor Lawrence. Like
With his
we
hair. Oh
were,
my goodness,
yeah.
bro. Yeah,
That was
he needs to
funny.
get a haircut.
But the Cowboys could have came back.
Well,
They could
yeah,
have.
they could have. Like 23-17, that's only a one possession game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. Rigo, why don't you paint me a picture of the end of the game? 49ers
Um,
Cowboys.
the end of the game was more of like well, obviously everyone was at the edge of their seat because the Cowboys fans, like, like further into the middle of the game, like if the game was like this, more of like like 3/4 of the game, the Cowboys were like, ah, we took the L. Like they're already disappointed. Like you saw the memes online of like the couple like looking disappointed. Like if
Yeah.
you haven't seen the meme, then look it up because they're pretty funny. Like Cowboys fans were already crying, and it was like I think it was still the third quarter. And then they started making a comeback, and then they were like, "Wait a minute, this is a game." And this is where 49ers fans were just like, "Oh, like we can't choke this. Like Jimmy, don't do this to us, you know?"
Uh-huh.
Because we've been disappointed because of
Before.
stuff like that. Yeah, we've been
Okay.
disappointed before because of 49ers making questionable plays like that. But it it ended up being a thing where it was just like, okay, now it's depending on who makes the least mistakes. Like
Yeah.
the Cowboys got screwed over their penalties. I believe they had 11 or 12 penalties in that game, and it screwed them because like a lot of those penalties were like easy stuff, like they were false starts, they were like easy holding calls, but all of that like compounded into them losing the game
Mhm. That
because
makes sense.
they made too many mistakes to the point where it was just like you saw their head coach getting mad too. They're like, "Wait, why are we making this many mistakes in the playoffs game?"
Yeah.
And I feel like the biggest thing that screwed the Cowboys was well that took a huge part in it was how many penalties they got in that game. And I saw like a post interview after it, and I believe one of the announcers was saying like, yeah, like the amount of penalties that the Cowboys had that game was like unacceptable because it could have been a much closer game than it was, but because like they would have made a good play, but then one of their players had a holding call,
Yeah.
it was just like, yo, like Dak Prescott was not having it, man. Jimmy G was playing. He was actually playing really good. Um, he
Jimmy
that
G.
surprises me. Yeah, I expect like George Kittle and Nick Bosa. Oh yeah, Nick Bosa and Jimmy G did get injured.
So are
in
they
that
out for this
game.
next game?
No, they're not out. They're
Oh,
not out. Thank God
minor
they're not
injury.
out.
Okay, yeah, I'll be
They
like, game's over if
Jimmy
they're
sprained
out.
his right. He sprained his right arm, and Boza was out of the game. Like they had to stretch him out of the game.
That sucks.
And yeah, and I was like, we lost Bosa because he was really good.
Yeah.
And so I believe the female announcer actually called him Joey Bosa, which was funny because that's his brother on the
Yeah.
Chargers. And so like everyone was like kind of laughing who I was watching that with. But honestly, the last part of the game was just a nail biter. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. I was walking in and out of the room. In those last 14 seconds, it was like the part that blew my mind the most because I was just like, okay, like, are the Cowboys gonna make the play or not? Or am I just gonna have to like sit here and worry the whole time? Because the refs were stretching it out, like they were trying to give the Cowboys a chance.
Yeah.
Like,
but it was the Cowboys' mistake.
That.
It was because I don't know who it was who had the ball, but he put it down. He didn't give it to the ref. So
I think
like,
it was Dak Prescott. Because I think
would
it was.
No, it would have to be their
Cause,
center because he's the one hiking it.
well, yeah, but no, yeah, you're right. I think
the point is they messed up.
The point is they messed up huge. Like I get it, they were under pressure and they're like, quick, we got to make one more play.
Yeah,
and they probably were in that mentality of like, okay, like at practice they set their own balls, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's probably
get out of the way. We're doing this.
Yeah, you know, like we're making one last play because they knew that the Cowboys fans were gonna get very mad.
Yeah.
You know, and that screwed them. That was just like, you know what, the Cowboys are done, man. And what's funny is one of the refs actually had to jump in at the end of the game. And he said, no, that's done. Like he literally stepped in. He's like, that's the end of the game. Like, no, like we're done.
Well, are you talking about the ref who like tried to like get through the line?
No, that was another. Another ref.
That ref was trying
to help him.
Yeah, he tried to set the ball for him, but it was too late. Clock ran out.
It was too late, and then they were. And then here's the thing: that little moment right there after that, they were talking about, I believe, for like 2 more minutes. They were like, "Wait, was the ball set? Was this happen? Whatever?" Because he tried to like ground it to like stop the clock. And then like 2-3 minutes after, like me and my friend were on a phone call. The ref goes in and he says, no, the game's over. Like they literally had to send a ref in the middle of the field to end the game because it was like, no, Cowboys, you had your chance, man. Like,
yeah, that makes sense.
But it was a great game. I enjoyed it. Cowboys fans are disappointed. That's funny. I was watching an interview with one of the fans and they were like, because he came with his son and he's like, son, one thing my dad told me was that the Cowboys were going to disappoint you, and they did. That was a disappointing game for Cowboys fans, unfortunately.
Yep, I would agree with that. Steelers Chiefs. This one was interesting to start with, but then the second half definitely blown out, 42-21. I was rooting for the Steelers, and here's why. I think Juju Smith-Schuster is a good talent. I think he's a funny personality. I've seen a couple of his YouTube videos, but he's also good on the football. Yeah, he's good on the football field too. So, you know, also like, it's not that I don't like the Chiefs. Like, I think Patrick Mahomes is amazing at football, but I mean, he also I know is going to have another chance. Whereas the Steelers is one of those teams that like they might not be in the playoffs next year, especially with Ben. Like
and he's retiring, I think. Yeah, that sucks.
I wouldn't. I just. It is what it is. Obviously, they got destroyed. Again, the first half was relatively close. The Steelers were doing pretty good. It was Juju's first game back in like 2 or 3 months. He hadn't played since like week 9 or something like that. So I was really happy to see him. So that was great. But man, Patrick Mahomes, he's good at football. Second half, absolutely destroyed. I know he's like not even in his probably like early mid-20s. I'd have to look it up.
Really? I think he's younger actually. Hold on.
Yeah, look it up.
Patrick Mahomes. Oh no, you're right. He's 26. You're right.
Yeah, 20. That's like as far as like I said, athlete standards. He hasn't even entered his prime yet.
Do you think he sounds like a frog?
I know his face doesn't match his voice. That's for sure.
Yeah. Okay. I think he sounds like Kermit personally, but But with the
Okay.
Steelers and Chiefs game, you have to watch an interview and then think
I
about
will.
that.
No, okay, okay. Next time I watch the
Yeah,
interview, I
I
will listen
promise
to
you.
his
We'll watch it
voice.
after this. We'll watch it after
Alright.
this podcast. It's
Okay,
hilarious,
dude.
bro. But yeah, I believe it was in the beginning. The Chiefs made a pretty like interesting sack on Big Ben. They were like wide open.
Oh, yeah, he's tried to
You saw
throw
that,
it.
right? Man, yeah, he tried to like man literally just ran through their line. Like
Yeah.
I felt like after that, their
It
biggest
was
problem
it was gone.
was their line. It was either their line, like their O line. I feel like could have done a lot better
You think the
because
Steelers' offense could have been better?
I feel like it could have. I
I
feel like it
mean,
could have.
obviously it could have because they needed to score more points, but, it is what it
100%.
is.
I think that's what pushed them down the most because their
Okay.
defense wasn't bad.
I mean,
Like their defense.
letting the
I
Chiefs
mean
score
they,
42 points,
but it's the Chiefs.
Yeah,
The Chiefs
that's
has the
true. It is
strongest
the Chiefs.
offense.
I would definitely agree with that statement.
The Chiefs
Yeah,
are very known for like having one of the best offenses. So I
when you
felt
have
like
your
that.
quarterback as Patrick
Yeah,
Mahomes, I would agree with that.
100%.
I'm not trying to give up my bracket too early, but I think the Chiefs are also going to be pretty good. I won't
Oh,
say
like
it
the
yet.
Super Bowl, like how the
Oh,
Super
well,
Bowl
I
was the
won't
other
say
year.
just yet, but yeah, I think they'll go far. And then lastly, we got the Cardinals and Rams. I kind of want to gloss over this one just because it was relatively boring. Kyler Murray didn't do very good. I mean, the team only scored 11 points, and the Rams are
You
obviously
call
just
him
a better
Kyler
team.
Murray?
Well, Kyler Murray, right? That's his last name. That's how you pronounce it.
Murray?
Oh, I thought I had an A in there. I'm dumb.
No, I might be dumb actually. I swear I've heard him. I've heard people call him Kyler Murray or the
Point is,
announcers. Oh yeah,
Kyler. We'll just say his first name. Someone can correct us later on. Don't really care. Uh, he didn't play well, man. I mean, I would say maybe he did if you think his stats were sufficient, but I mean, if you're only scoring 11 points, I would say that's pretty bad.
yeah.
So, Rams, I mean, Merry Christmas. You're going to the divisional round. Um, Sean McVay, their head coach, probably pleased, but I mean, also Jared Goff played, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is a better team. This was one of those like, obviously they're not a 1-8 seed, but it's one of those games where you're coming in like, all right, this team's clearly better. Kind of like the Bills Patriots game. It's just is what it is.
I felt like that matchup was easily read too. Like
Yeah,
the Cardinals had an amazing season. Like they had a really good season. You see the record, but
the
um
Rams just have more playoff experience.
the Rams have more playoff experience and they're just a better matchup. Like
People, here's the
you,
thing. I want to interrupt you really quickly. People forget that playoff experience is super, super important into winning a championship. Like you can be I'm gonna switch over to basketball because again, I know it better. You can be the
you're fine.
Memphis Grizzlies right now, who are really good. They're the third best team in the league right now, but they're super young, and so I don't see them moving on past the first or second round because of the lack of playoff experience. So it's just like once you get that, maybe 3 or 4 years down the line, you can win a championship. So it's
Like
just
with the Patriots, like
yeah,
they had a bunch of young guns, you know. They
and give
were
them time.
give them time. Yeah, like that was a lot of them's first playoff game and they felt the pressure. They felt the pressure and they definitely got the
Yeah.
pressure.
Yep, and that concludes it for the wild card games. We're gonna move on to our picks for the divisional or just playoffs because I think our next episode is gonna be after the Super Bowl. So we're gonna pick
Oh,
our
so
picks
we're going to
now.
do like Super Bowl predictions?
Yeah. So right now the bracket stands as this, and the games. So we are recording this the night before the divisional rounds begin. So we don't know who's won or lost yet. So we got
Mhm.
the Bills, the Chiefs playing each other, Bengals, Titans, Rams, Bucks, 49ers, Green Bay. I will tell you mine first, and then we'll go to you. So
Okay.
I think the Chiefs are going to beat the Bills and
Oh,
go.
you think the Bills are going to make it?
Yeah, no. So they would be going to
Oh,
the AFC Championship. And
yeah.
then Titans number 1 seed are probably going to beat the Bengals because they is again lack of playoff experience. Like that's why I was impressed by Joe Burrow, but I think the Titans are just a better team.
Mhm.
And then sorry, San Francisco's not making it.
I think they are, but
Yeah,
that's
we'll
just
get
me.
to you. We'll get to you. San Francisco is not making it against Aaron Rodgers. Just it's not happening. Simple as that. And then the Rams and Bucks. Now, this is the weirdest one, but again, I'm not betting against Tom Brady in the playoffs. So I think it's those four teams, and then versus Kansas City and the Titans,
You
and
gotta
then
remember
Bucks.
the Rams have OBJ.
Nah, 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 nah. I'm not betting against Tom Brady, dude. So I think
That's true.
honestly, it could be either. I personally just Patrick Mahomes going to. I think being he's starting to get really, really good. I think Kansas will go to the playoffs, but I think the Titans could win because they've just been a good team. I think they had the best record in the league, if I'm not mistaken. But I just
The
think
Titans, yeah,
I
they got
just
first seed. I mean,
I don't think they can beat Kansas City in the playoffs. And then
mm-hmm.
this one's weird because it's like Aaron Rodgers lost to Tom Brady last year, but again, I'm not betting against Tom Brady, bro. So honestly, I'll say it right now. I think the Bucks are gonna win the Super Bowl. I think it's gonna be Chiefs Bucks again, like whatever the last
um,
time they played. I think that was last year.
mm-hmm.
And then I have the Bucks winning. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Green Bay comes back and because Aaron Rodgers is good, and then they beat the Bucks, and then it was Kansas City, Green Bay, and then Green Bay wins.
Uh-huh.
Because it's whoever if Green Bay comes out, it's Green Bay winning. If the Bucks come out, they're winning. I just
Yeah,
that is what I think it is. I'm not betting against Tom Brady for the fourth time. He's just too good. Let's hear from
man.
you.
Bengals and Titans game. I think the Titans are gonna win.
Okay. Yeah.
I just think they're a better team right
Yeah.
now. Right now, I think they are.
Hmm.
They've had a good season. They've had some playoff experience. I think they're a good team.
Okay.
And also they have first seed. 49ers and Packers. This is me being honest. Like, this is like I get I'm a
Yeah. Let's hear
49ers
it.
fan,
Let's
but
hear it.
listen. I think it's gonna be hella close, like close to the
Okay.
point of a field goal. I think it's gonna be super close, but I think my team's gonna win. And here's the thing.
You're
We've been
not
put in a
winning.
position where no, get this. We've been put in positions like this where we're playing a really good team in the playoffs and we barely beat them. I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's
Okay.
going to be like a 23-24. Like I think it's going to be that
Now,
close.
here's a question for you. Here's a question for you. If they beat Green Bay, is San Francisco winning the Super Bowl? Yes or no?
Um that's a good question. That's a very good question.
Because the answer should be
Cuz
no.
no. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Obviously the 49ers have made it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And like I said, they have the capability of beating any team. They
But they
could beat the
also,
Bucks.
but they also can lose.
And they also can lose. They could also get swept under the rug.
Yeah.
So I don't know the answer to that. Like
Okay.
I know I get it, it's my team and I have bias, but I seriously don't know the answer to that. Like if they were to play the Rams or like if they were to play like the Rams or the Bucks or even the Chiefs, I don't know how that game's gonna go.
Yeah. Okay.
I think the other
Still think you're
team will have
biased, but that's fine.
listen. I still think the other team will have a better advantage because
Okay.
technically they're a better team.
So look at you're saying the 49ers will come in as the underdogs and win.
Yeah. I think that's what it is. I think that's
All
what it
right.
is. So
Well,
who do I think is making it to the Super Bowl? So LA Rams and Bucks. Who's that's a game. That's gonna be a game, by the way.
never
That's gonna
bet
be a good
against
game.
Tom Brady, man.
Yeah, I'm never betting against Tom Brady, bro. The Bucks are gonna win.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a good game. Bills and Chiefs. I think the Bills are gonna win.
Okay.
I think the Bills are gonna win.
That's
I don't know
who.
why.
Yeah, my friend bet on them to win the Super Bowl. So you're not the only one out there who thinks the Bills are going to win. Of course, Bills Mafia. That's what they call themselves, I believe. They think they're
Hmm.
going far, but nah, San Francisco is losing to Tom Brady, man.
Watch, we're gonna talk about it. The Niners are gonna
We will.
barely beat the Packers. The Niners are barely gonna beat the
If
Packers.
everything goes right for you, we will be talking about the San Francisco 49ers being Super Bowl champions on our
Now,
next
who do I think
episode.
is gonna make it to the Super Bowl?
Blank
I
over
think I think
blank.
the Niners and the Bucks. I think it's gonna be that. because if the
Wait,
Niners,
no,
if
no, no, no. That's they're in the same conference. That would be the championship.
oh, I'm retarded. The Niners and the Chiefs.
Niners and Chiefs, and you think Niners win? Team
No,
bias
no,
right
no,
there.
not Niners and Chiefs. I meant Niners and Bills.
Niners and Bills, okay.
I think Niners and Bills. Yeah.
And then you
Oh,
got
man.
Niners winning.
Yeah, I
All
do have
right, there's
Niners
that
winning.
bias
I think
right
it's gonna
there.
be.
Let's go.
Yeah, I do have Niners winning.
All right. Well, let's
I
hope
just
it
think the
comes
Niners are
true
gonna
for
get
you then.
incredibly lucky. Like
All right.
you saw how last game went.
No, no, no.
Like
It's not.
I
There's see you later, dude.
okay, there's bias there.
Yep,
I'll
there
give you
is.
that. But I've seen them play. Like I've
Now
seen them
I
get
understand
so
where you're
lucky to
coming
the
from.
point.
I understand because obviously I have some bias with Golden State, but like at the same time they're actually really really good. So it's not like last year was a little bit different where I was biased, but at the same time they were like they could beat anybody, but they could also lose to anybody, as we
Okay, do you
saw.
want me here? Let me do this without bias.
All
Let me
right.
attempt to. Let me attempt to.
Okay.
But Titans are still winning. I still think Niners are still gonna beat the Packers.
Okay.
Um, Bucks are winning. That's gonna be a game.
And then Bills.
Bills are still gonna win. Yeah,
So
and I think
you would be Bucks versus San Francisco, Titans versus Bills.
yeah.
And then you said Bills are going to the Super Bowl. So it's does he beat Tom Brady realistically speaking or no?
If I wasn't a 49ers fan hoping, no, the Bucks are gonna win.
All right, that's fair. And
But
then you
I
got
think the
Bills
49ers
over.
are first.
Do you
I
and
got
you got Bills over Bucks and Super Bowl?
yes.
Okay.
I
So
think that, and I think that's like if the probability of that happening is higher than mine, obviously,
yeah.
like the 49ers, because the
hmm
Bills are a good team. But that's gonna be very interesting to see
All
if
right.
it does go down that way.
So final predictions. I had Chiefs Bucks with Bucks winning, and then Rigo has biased prediction 49ers over Bills, and then unbiased Bucks over 40. No, Bills over Bucks is what you said?
Yeah,
Or okay, understood. So that's where we have it. Hopefully it comes true. We'll see what happens. But moving
we'll
away
see next
from
time.
yeah, honestly, moving away from football for a little bit. We are gonna switch over to basketball. Klay Thompson and Kyrie Irving are both back and playing. So, for those who don't know, and that's you included, Klay Thompson was injured in Game 6 of the 2019 NBA Finals and has not played a game. I mean, now he's been playing a little bit, but like it was from that time to his return, 941 days. That's
Wow,
2.5 years
of being gone.
of being gone on a
What was his injury?
he had an ACL tear,
Oh,
and then right before he was about to come back for the season, he tore his Achilles. And then
and this
Achilles
guy's
is
still playing.
yeah, and that's one of the worst injuries you can get as a professional athlete. So I'll start with Klay since we're already on him. He's played in 6 games, 21 minutes because he's on a minute restriction, shooting 37.2% from the field, but only 30% from three, while averaging 2 rebounds and 2 assists and 14 points per game. And then Kyrie, who again has had the whole like vaccine issue and like part-time player with like New York's restrictions or whatever, is now a part-time player for the Nets. So he only plays on road games now. So if they're not in New York, he's playing. And he's played in 5 games, 34 minutes per game on 50% field goal, 33% from three, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 22 points. So obviously, if you're a box score player, um, Kyrie's is much better than Klay's. Let's just put that flat out there. Do I think Klay is a better player than Kyrie? Uh, no, not really. I think
Hmm.
Kyrie Irving is better than Klay Thompson at this point in time. I think at the end of their careers, I think Klay's impact to the game will be a bit bigger than Kyrie, but at this point in time, I think Kyrie is better. With that being
Okay.
said, in the past, I'm switching back over to Klay right here. the Warriors came out and said, "All right, this season is 3 parts: pre-Klay, integrating Klay, post-Klay." And so right now, it was pre-Klay, and they went like I think like 30. Well, I guess it would be like 28 wins, something like that. They were rolling. Um, integrating Klay has not been so good. They are 4-8, or no, like 4-7 in their last games. They've lost more games in the last 2 weeks than they have for this season, which is ridiculous because they're supposed to be a 1 or 2 seed um, this year. So as a Warriors fan, that's kind of pissing me off. But I mean, it's Klay Thompson. What are you gonna do? And I'm not saying Klay has everything to do with it. I think it's the Warriors' offense. I think yes, Klay does have a part, but not everything. I think he needs to just get into a groove, start. Because
But
I
you
mean,
still think Kyrie's a better player?
well, yeah, Kyrie is a better player, but I'm talking about like the Warriors' struggles right now as a team and like
Oh,
trying
okay.
to trying to integrate Klay back in. I'm gonna talk about the Nets trying to integrate Kyrie. Because this is the thing that stands out to me right now is 30.2% from three. Klay Thompson is one of the best end 3-point shooters of all time. That is a fact, and he's shooting
Hmm.
30%. Now his splash brother Steph Curry, my favorite player, is also in a shooting slump. He's shooting like 38% from three, which is like unheard of for him. That's terrible for Steph Curry standards. He usually shoots 43%. So it's just like I don't know what to say, honestly, other than the Warriors do not look like themselves right now, and I think that is not helping Klay Thompson get back to his normal routine. At the end of the season, we can revisit this, but that's what it is right now. I think the thing they need to do to fix that is one, get Draymond Green back. Draymond Green is kind of their um, initiator, I would say. That energy man, kind of like how Tom Brady has Gronk. Steph Curry is Tom Brady. Draymond Green is Rob Gronkowski. So if without Gronk, is Brady still Brady? I would say he's yeah, but not as good. You know what I mean? And so with Draymond Green out, Steph is still Steph, but he's not Steph Curry. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Wait, who was playing for Klay Thompson?
In his absence,
Yeah.
Jordan Poole, and that is a great point to bring up because ever since Jordan Poole is a third-year player. He's
I, I
20.
I know a little bit. Isn't he a point guard though?
He's a shooting guard.
Okay.
He can play point guard because he's got a really good handle and he knows how to run the offense. But the problem is that ever since Clay got back, Jordan's points have been suffering. And so that's a great point to bring up because he blew up. I mean, 22 years old, third year, averaging 18 points per game. I would say candidate for most improved player. Also, and then people were saying he's going to be a candidate for sixth man of the year because now he's moved to the bench. But he has suffered tremendously. Like he went 0 for 5 on his 3-pointers last night. Had like 7 points. Like he does
Mm.
not look like the Jordan Poole we know, and I think that's because moving him to the bench is ruining that, and that's a problem because honestly, I really, really, really like Jordan Poole, and I think this might suffer any chance of him resigning. I don't know for sure, but I would just love to retain him long term, and I just can't tell the future, and that's annoying,
Only
obviously.
time will tell.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, I'm gonna probably revisit this subject over the course of the next few episodes because I'm a Warriors fan and I will be revisiting them as much as I can. But as far as Kyrie Irving goes, um, the Nets are kind of in the same situation. They're a contender like the Warriors. Obviously, this one's like not injury; it's more team stuff. So he's a part-time player. He's only playing on road games. The problem is that when you're only there for half the games, you can't really make an impact unless you're there for all the games. And obviously, so Kevin Durant. I don't know if you know who Kevin Durant is,
Hmm.
but he just got an MCL tear. Kevin Durant did, and
What's
is
an
now
MCL?
uh, like lower leg injury. It's not as severe as ACL, but they said he would be reevaluated in 4 to
It
6
hurts.
weeks. It hurts, yes. So he's out for the next like month and a half at the minimum, and that sucks because Kevin Durant is their best player. So when you only have James Harden leading your offense, I mean, we know James Harden can lead an offense, but he can't lead a franchise to a championship. So obviously you need Kyrie Irving, but when he's only there for road games, kind of tough. And the thing that stands out
Why
to
is he
me,
only there for road games?
because at the beat, so he's not vaccinated, and the players or the NBA, or not even the NBA, the
Is it by his choice?
yes, by his choice.
Okay.
So the Nets are in New York, and then and New York likes, and San Francisco's like this as well. Maybe LA. I'm not 100% sure. New York requires vaccinations to play at the Barclays Center, which is their arena. So he's like not allowed to play home games. So he can play at road games, but not home. That's that.
Hmm.
Um, and that's obviously detrimental. So Kyrie, I mean, while he's averaging 22 points per game in 34 minutes, I think, I mean, honestly, his stats aren't even that bad. I'd say his 3-point percentage could be a little bit higher. I think career average is like 39, which, so he obviously a down year. But I think going in and out of that groove, like, you have to now create two separate lineups. You have to create the lineup with Kyrie and the lineup without Kyrie.
Without Kyrie, yeah.
And not only that, now you have to create up a lineup without Kevin Durant. And so that kind of just messes up their whole thing. So I'm personally expecting to see the Nets kind of drop off the playoff radar. And then towards playoff, they'll probably be like a 3 or 4 seed, which is honestly good. Well, I wouldn't say it's good for them. I would say it's good in the fact that their first round matchup is going to be a little bit easier. Or actually, no, it'd be a little bit harder. Um, but I still think they'll be contenders by the season's end. Um, but we'll just have to see. I think it's good for the game that both of these players are back. And I mean, obviously, I missed Clay. I'm sure Nets
Hmm.
fans missed Kyrie. Um, I do want to say one thing really, really quickly. Got to sneak some Lakers slander in there because they are falling apart, and it is great to see. They're 21 and 23, I believe, or 20. They're under 500. I know that for sure. And it's going wrong, and honestly, it's awesome. Now, as an NBA fan, you're like, "Wow, this is weird. 4 Hall of Famers aren't doing anything. So what's going on?" But yeah, this I don't know what they're gonna do. They're definitely gonna be active at the trade deadline. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. All right, so that's the episode. You got anything you want to shout out before we head out?
Not really. Just we'll see how the predictions for the NFL goes after
Yes, for
this
sure.
podcast
I
after the Super
would
Bowl happens.
Yeah, so we got the divisional round games tomorrow and Sunday, I believe. And then obviously, the championship and Super Bowl. So next time we have an episode will probably be after the Super Bowl. We're going to talk about the interesting games that happened, if there are any, and of course the Super Bowl recap, talk about the MVP, the awards given, and obviously some statistics. And then all-star teams will be announced for the NBA, and we can talk about that. So if you haven't already, go follow us on our social medias. I think the most important thing I want to plug is our Spotify. If you are watching this on YouTube, go to our Spotify and click the follow button. We're also on Apple Podcasts. And then our Twitter, we have a Twitter and a TikTok. And soon we will be making our own website where you can listen to our podcast there. It should be theblockpartypod.com, but that is not up yet. We will let you know when it goes up on our social medias. So yeah, thank you for watching, listening, wherever you're seeing this. We will see you next time.